Hello, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the My Amazon Guy podcast every Tuesday at 12 p.m. Eastern. This is our PPC AMA, where we have a PPC or advertising specialist as our guest. This week, we have Josh Hadley, who is the CEO of Hadley Designs and also founder of ECOMM Breakthrough. Welcome to our show.
Thanks for having me here, Marissa. It's great to be here.
Yeah, definitely. So for those of you who don't know, I am Marissa Linzey, so I'm an account director here at My Amazon Guy. Josh, if you want to give us a little bit of an intro on ECOMM Breakthrough, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, for sure. So my wife and I are owners of our e-commerce business. So we live here in Flower Mound, Texas. We have 3 children, 8, 4, and 2 years old. So they definitely keep us busy for sure. But we enjoy doing what we're doing with them and being able to raise them and watch the business grow at the same time. And then, as you mentioned, I am the host of the ECOMM Breakthrough podcast. So on that podcast, I help share strategies and tactics that you can that can help you scale from a 7-figure business owner to 8 figures and beyond. So it's all about like the tactics of and the mindset shifts that you need to experience in order to really scale to a much bigger business. And I found that there's a lot of sellers that can easily get to 7 figures just on their own, maybe with the help of a couple assistants. But growing to an 8-figure business is a whole other obstacle. And, the strategies and the tactics that you need to employ in order to get to that point are different. And that's the kind of the focus on that podcast. And then, as I mentioned, we have our e-commerce brand. We did over 8 figures in revenue just last year. And so we're continuing to grow from there. So I share a lot of, the pains, the struggles, and what we've done to grow our brand to 8 figures and beyond, and what our plans are for the future of that brand. So that's a little bit about me. We have a team of 25 people on our team. So I'm familiar a lot with PPC and optimization. Then I also have a team that leads the PPC and optimization for our brand as well.
Perfect. Thank you. Guys, if you have any, design type questions for listings and stuff too, those might be good to ask as well. All right, let's jump in. So we have a few hellos. So good afternoon from Lakeland, Florida. Kevin says this at every podcast. He's a regular of ours. And then we can jump into the first question from Abdullah. My client have product daily sales, 4 or 5 or so images, listing PPC, everything is fine. Our competitor sales are 18,000, mostly is 5,000, mostly Amazon seller. What should I do? So kind of a little broken there, but from the looks of it, it looks like they're just looking for some tips on scaling the brand and kind of, some advice there.
Yeah. My biggest recommendation for any Amazon seller is if you are trying to scale or grow your business, the number one growth lever for every Amazon seller is new products. If there is one thing to spend the majority of your time on, honestly, it's not PPC. It's not changing out your main images. It's not supply chain management. It is all about new product research and development. And really, where you start to differentiate yourself is when you're able to come out with products that are unlike anything else that are currently in the market. Because long gone are the days on Amazon where you can just create a Me Too product. Those are way, way, way past us at this point. And so you need to be approaching new product opportunities with, how am I going to bring value to the marketplace that currently is not existing there? And how can I better serve the customer? And you're not going to win by price. So don't think that I'm going to create the cheapest knickknack or whatever it is. You need to create value. And people, if you truly create value, they're willing to pay a premium for your service that provides a better value. So my number one recommendation to anybody that's wanting to scale their brand is be dedicated to new product launches, new product development. That is one of our core KPIs in our brand. Is we have our research and development manager that is producing and identifying 20 new product ideas every single week for our business, every single week. And that is the first core key metric. And it's what I like to call, it's kind of the leading measure, right? Your profit is a lagging metric in your business, right? Your profit is a result of all the hard work and effort that you put in over the last 6 months to a year, right? Then you get the profit. But what are the leading measures in your business? Things that you can control right now that they're not going to have an immediate payoff tomorrow, but they are going to be what produces your profit 6 months to a year to 18 months from now. And business owners that can actually shift their mindset to focusing on the leading measures are going to be the businesses that succeed, because there's far too many Amazon sellers and just entrepreneurs in general that they're just solely focused on profitability today. And that is a lagging metric. So if you change what you're viewing in terms of your KPIs, look at the leading measures, and your number one leading measure should be how many new product ideas did we generate today? Did we generate this week? Did we generate last month? That is then going to snowball into your future profit.
Yeah, I think that's a good answer. And, when you say new product development, sometimes, I see, clients here at MAG, that just want to do like virtual bundles, or they just want to and I think that's almost lacking in the commitment sometimes that, I think you need sometimes to really commit to scaling your business, and it's a risk, right? Like there's no reward without some risk. Some successful tactics I've even seen is, buying a new G10 code or something like that, and, repackaging, certain products and making like a real bundle, right? Instead of some kind of virtual bundle, making a real, gift set or something like that you can, market as being giftable, and you're kind of reinventing the wheel a little bit here, but sometimes that's a little bit more accessible for, people who aren't, of the ability to just create a new product necessarily, because that does take some time. And, a lot of the time, people we work with here are looking for some fast solutions, right? So
Yeah.
that's kind of my take on that. Here we have Karen. So this is a two-parter. Is there a fast, simple way or a Chrome extension where I can see listings on Amazon, and I can then quickly see the contact email for the business website, location, etc.? I want to cold reach out to American/non-Chinese sellers on Amazon to pitch them on my PPC services. Any tips on how I can do this fast and in bulk? So we can go back to the first question and kind of go from there. But
yeah, so I am not aware. I'm never trying to contact other sellers specifically, but I know that you can see the address, right? So my recommendation would be to, go get the address and send people a postcard in the mail. That's going to be your best option. But
yeah.
I don't know of any tools. I'm sure there are some out there, but I haven't had a need for those services because I'm not in the B2B space.
Yeah, I'm not sure of any Chrome extensions or anything like that either. I think Amazon's pretty good about keeping a lot of that information private, just, being that it's Amazon. You can use Helium 10 or Keepa to kind of figure out, what those competitors are making sometimes, and what the BSR is, and all of those other great metrics. As far as, seeing personal information, I'm kind of going along with what you were saying. If you go into the buy box and actually expand those other offers, you'll be able to see like the address of where those people or Chinese sellers are located. You can click into their profile, I believe. Is that kind of what you were referring to? Probably. That's kind of what I'm familiar with. So and then I think for any kind of, claims or anything like that, we always advise a test buy. So if there are, people who are, hijacking your listings or selling counterfeits or even anything like that. I know this question is more so about pitching services. You know, you can go through brand registry and, you know, kind of contact them and let Amazon know in that way. As far as, you know, pitching anything, that postcard method might be the most sincere way to do it. I don't know how many emails are going to spam or anything like that. So that might be your most endearing kind of method for doing that. And then from Fahad, hi, how about print on demand business on Amazon? Do you think we can grow this business on Amazon? So what are your thoughts there?
Yeah, so you'd have to work in the handmade space, right? And so Amazon is not so Amazon handmade is friendly to drop shipping, so to speak, because yeah, print on demand is basically drop shipping, right? Um, but if you're talking about, it depends on like what type of products that you're getting into, right? I know that some people they have like a wood shop at their house, and so they're able to design like cutting boards, right? They're able to engrave somebody's like anniversary date into a cutting board, and that's what people want to purchase, right, on their Amazon listing. But they have very strict like turnaround times, right? Like it's got to be done and out the door within, I don't know, 24, 48 hours. And then it's got to be shipped to the customer. So this is not something that you're going to be drop shipping from China by any means. The service level requirements are way too high. And then if you're trying to get into the like t-shirt space or tote bags or anything like that that's print on demand, you're wasting your time going anywhere other than merch by Amazon. Amazon already has their own print on demand platform. It's called Merch by Amazon. You do actually have to be like a graphic designer in order to actually like apply. And they have to see that you are an artist in order for them to accept you, because they do have, you know, thousands of people on there. But your listing shows up as like Prime eligible. It's not handmade. So that would be my recommendation if you want to get into some type of like print on demand business. Just go, you know, tow your hitch to Amazon's Merch by Amazon.
Yeah, for sure. We see a lot of like Etsy sellers try to break into the Amazon kind of marketplace, and I think they're both, you know, very unique platforms for very you know, specific reasons, right? And handmade is a category that, you know, some of our clients have been in, and it's really tough. It really is, both on, you know, them and, you know, there's not a whole lot you know, you can do with FBA and everything like that. It's a lot harder. Um, from Hamza, any special strategies for launching new product on a new account, tips on PPC and remarks on Google Ads, if you have any?
Yeah, so I think the way we start our ads, we have a very unique approach whenever we launch a new product. We're coming out with 30 new SKUs every single month. So we have a lot of experience of launching new products. And what we have seen that works the best are two things. Number one, when we go through our keyword list, like there are literally thousands of keywords, right? So if you use helium 10, cerebro, get all the keywords from like your top 10 competitors. I have a team member that goes through and manually reviews every single one of those keywords to determine, like, number one, are they relevant or not? That's kind of the first step. It's like, is this keyword actually referring to the product that I'm trying to sell? That's the first question, right? Because sometimes you're going to get really weird stuff where it's like, oh, I'm selling a tumbler, but like a Mickey Mouse diaper bag was like one of the keywords that randomly showed up, right? And it's like that makes no sense. So not relevant, right? That's kind of step number one. Step number two is you are going to take these, you know, list of thousands of keywords, okay? And now you need to categorize each of these keywords accordingly, okay? We have 4 different buckets of keywords that we categorize them into. We have a shop keyword, we have a semi-shop keyword, we have a browse specific keyword, and then we have a browse keyword category. All right. So let's dive into like what each of these categories are. First, shop keyword. This is like typically it's going to be a long tail keyword, but not necessarily. But these are going to be your hyper relevant keywords where if, again, you're trying to sell like a white tumbler, right? You would type in to Amazon like white Yeti tumbler, right? If I'm trying to sell a Yeti tumbler, right? Like that would be a shop keyword. And this is the way we distinguish a shop keyword. Do more than 75% of the competitors on page one, are they trying to sell a similar type of product, or would they be considered like an alternative or a substitute to my product, right? I don't want to, in a kind of a good example of this would be, hey, like let's just call it like a drink mug or something like that, right? It's kind of like random, but like, yes, you do see some tumblers on there, but not a lot, right? I wouldn't necessarily consider like a drink mug a shop keyword unless more than 75% of the results are the exact same type of tumbler that I'm trying to sell, right? A semi-shop keyword, the criteria for that is I want to see more than 50% of the results on page one being my competitors, right? Because it's showing me that, hey, when people search this keyword, they're typically buying these type of products. Otherwise, Amazon wouldn't be ranking them. Then you go down to browse specific. This is where maybe at least 25% of my competitors or substitutes are ranked on page one. And then browse is, hey, there's one guy or two guys that randomly got onto this keyword. And it could be like gifts for mom. Okay, yes, a Tumblr made the list for gifts for mom. However, unless you see a bunch of people, ranking for gifts for mom, that's probably not the best keyword for you. Even though it has a crazy amount of search volume, that should not be a keyword you're starting with. So I say that with this in mind. When we launch our products, we start with only exact match keyword campaigns for our shop keywords and our semi-shop keywords. Because what we are able to do is tell Amazon, this is exactly what our product is. Instead of, I think most people in the past have heard the story or that you need to pan for gold, right? And so turn on your auto and your broad campaigns from day one, and then just kind of sift and see what's working and then move those over to an exact campaign. That's lazy. That's the lazy man's way of doing it, because you're just telling Amazon, like, I don't know what my product is. You tell me what the good keywords are. But if you do the upfront work, you're going to save yourself a lot of time and money. And then B, what you're going to do is tell Amazon from day one what your product specifically is. So Amazon doesn't start advertising you on irrelevant keywords, and it takes longer for Amazon to actually put you in, in the right category, right? And start ranking you properly. So shop, semi-shop keywords for the first 2 weeks. In addition to that, we will turn on product targeting ad campaigns as well from day one. We'll find the best competitors and we will put them into single competitor product targeting campaigns, because again, we're trying to show to Amazon, this is what my product is. This is a competitor. All the keywords they're ranking for, I want to be ranking for. And so if you start stealing sales from those competitors and Amazon sees those shop keywords, Amazon will like start putting 2 and 2 together and you'll start ranking there. We don't activate our discovery campaigns. We call them like auto and broad campaigns until after at least the first couple weeks, if not a month into it. And then again, we're just focused exclusively on profitability for the discovery campaigns, whereas the shop, semi-shop, single keyword campaigns, we're willing to entertain like 100% ACOS if it is driving organic ranking for us across the board. So that's kind of the methodology that we use when we come out with our ad campaigns to launch brand new products and send all the right signals to Amazon to take advantage of that honeymoon period.
That's really interesting. I've actually Never really heard of people doing it that way. I guess, it makes sense. It's, the exact opposite of what you're kind of told to do, and, a little riskier maybe, but do you find that, using those exact match keywords to start, it helps, Amazon integrate those campaigns into the algorithm faster than, if, you're not telling Amazon what those products are exactly?
Well, 100%, right? Because
Yeah.
those shop keywords are what we've built into our title and into our bullets. And so Amazon's now seeing like, oh, this search term, and yes, I see it in your title. I actually feel like the strategy we use is the least risky option in terms of launching on PPC. And the reason being is that I would say you're more risky when you turn on an auto campaign from day one, because when you turn on an auto campaign, you're just giving Amazon full carte blanche to go blow your budget as fast as Amazon possibly can,
Yeah.
right? And so what we have seen, and again, we have over 1,300 products. So we have seen this when we formerly used to start with auto campaigns from day one. And what we would constantly see is, why in the world is Amazon advertising us for these keywords? This is just wasted ad spend because these aren't even relevant keywords. And part of the battle of that is like, from day one, Amazon still has no idea what your product is, right? Yeah, they can crawl your bullets and your description and your title, but they still don't know until they actually see purchases come through from keywords. And so from day one, when you come out with just a targeted list of your shop keywords, um, you are guaranteed, like, either A, if your shop keywords aren't converting, you have not found the right product, right? Because your shop keywords, you should be converting very well on those from the get go. And so we've been able to be profitable sometimes within the first couple weeks on a product launch just because we're not wasting any of our ad spend.
Yeah. What would you say for, because I obviously have, talked to a lot of clients throughout my days and that kind of thing. Um, what's the timeline, would you say, um, for those kind of new product launches? I know you said sometimes you're profitable, kind of right away. We have a lot of clients who are very ACOS conscious, very tacos conscious, and um, would you say, I guess, that, the ranking organically is, the most important kind of, KPI, and then everything else kind of comes after? And, when do you start to see ACOS and tacos kind of level out a little bit? Because I know a lot of clients are not okay with seeing 100% ACOS all the time,
hmm
right?
hmm Here's the thing. I think that most people have a very big misconception about Amazon ads and the way that they approach ads. Ads should not be your primary driver of profitability. You should not be thinking about ads in terms of, I need to make a profit on every single one of my purchases that come from ads. That's not the purpose of the ad. The purpose of PPC ads on Amazon is to get you ranked, period. That is it. That is the purpose of why you should be advertising on Amazon. It's not to be super profitable on your ads. It is to rank, period. So that, again, that's the whole reason why we go through all the effort that we do to create all those different buckets of keywords so that we can zone in and say, hey, we're losing rank on this particular keyword. Oh, okay, time to dial up the budget and the bids for this specific PPC exact match term, right? And then when we do that, we will see the organic ranking go up, right? But that only happens if your conversion rate is higher than the category average. Okay. Because if you just want to like just spend, like you will not rank because Amazon sees you have a lower conversion rate than the competition. And so Amazon's like, thanks for all your money, but I'm not going to like rank you higher because like your product offering is not compelling enough to the end user, the customers. So again, this is what it all goes back to: product research and development, right? If you're just thinking that you're going to make money on Amazon and you're going to force feed sellers to, or customers to buy your product through ads and all that stuff, you've got it all backwards. Like Amazon PPC is there to ignite like a really good product. And it's very simple, right? If you can come out with a very good product, Amazon ads will help you rank organically very quickly. So again, that's why I say like you need to be willing, like there may be certain keyword terms that I'm spending 100% ACOS on, but what I've seen is that as soon as I try to dial back my ad spend on that specific keyword, I'll start to lose organic ranking. And so there's kind of a decision matrix, right? Where if a PPC campaign is unprofitable, but it is supporting my organic rankings, I will keep it. If a PPC campaign is unprofitable and through testing, it is not supporting our organic rankings, I will kill it. If a PPC campaign is profitable and also supporting organic rankings, obviously I would keep that as well. But here's the flip side. If a PPC campaign is profitable, but it's actually damaging my organic ranking, I would also turn that off as well. And that's why I think so many people look at like PPC and product optimization as two separate like departments, and they're not. Like they are 100% ingrained. Your PPC influences your organic ranking day in and day out. I had a fantastic conversation with Mina Elias about this on my podcast. I've had Destiny Wish on the podcast. I've had Stephen Pope on the podcast. We talked about all of these strategies on there. And so, yeah, there are many different schools of thought. But at the end of the day, what I've seen consistently from everybody is like, it is all about the organic ranking when it comes to ads. And so, yes, don't be worried about one keyword that has a bad ACOS, but you should then be asking whether it's your PPC manager that's managing it or an agency that's managing it. Do they have a strategy? And ask them, okay, this is unprofitable, but is it supporting my organic ranking? Like, why are we willing to entertain this negative profit keyword? And so if somebody can demonstrate that, yes, it's supporting organic ranking, then keep it all day long.
Yeah, I think that makes a lot of sense. We have a hello for Kwan. How are you doing? And then we have another question. So I'm ordering for the third time of the first product. So maybe they're doing like a reorder of, their current product selection. What are the good ways to manage cash flow? That's an interesting question.
Yeah, there's a lot of tips and strategies when it comes to like managing cash flow. So the first thing would be, trying to make purchases on credit cards where at all possible. So there's, at the end of the day, this is all going to come back to your ability to negotiate with your suppliers. With our suppliers, we pay 0 credit card fees, right? And so that allows me, instead of having to do a wire transfer where my money goes out of the bank immediately, I can now extend those payment terms. And there's an Amazon or American Express, it's called the Plum Card, right? That actually gives you 60 days to pay back, like from the day you occur the expense, you've got 60 days to pay it back. So that's going to extend your payment terms. But here's the other key part. With some of our suppliers, we have 90-day terms with them, which means, and this is the big game changer, our products can be shipped to Amazon in Amazon's warehouse, and we can be selling them before we've ever had to pay for the product, right? That is a game changer for any Amazon business, right? Where you're able to start making profit and money before you've actually even paid for the product. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, first of all, if you're just starting out, it's a little hard for you to, say, hey, I spend $1 million a year with my current suppliers, so you should give me these payment terms, right? So if you're just starting out, you need to be creative. It's going to be more on like the credit card type of, strategies, but it always doesn't hurt to ask, right? And your payment terms are probably like the number one biggest thing I would work on with your suppliers, and just see if you can get them to say, hey, yeah, we won't actually, yeah, the net 30 doesn't start until your products are received into Amazon, right? Like imagine if you could negotiate that. So the more you can kind of delay that payment and not, hey, I need 50% up front and then 50% immediately once the product is shipped to the port, like you're screwed. Now you're sitting on those 2 months where it's sitting on the water, like you're just wasting, like you've already paid for the product. Like that's going to get really challenging. That's where people have to go into getting lines of credit, getting loans, etc. So that's kind of my 2 cents.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense from from your perspective with, launching new products and stuff like that. That makes a whole bunch of sense. And then what's the best PPC strategy for launching high ticket products? So in the $150 to $200 price range. So probably, in line with what we were talking about before, but is it a little bit different for higher priced items than maybe lower priced items?
Not necessarily. At the end of the day, it's all kind of the same. Your bids most likely are going to be much higher. I would assume in a very high ticket price, but at the end of the day, you're going to start with your shop keywords, right? That's probably like, again, one of the biggest mindset shifts that people need to experience as well, is that like at the end of the day, all that you're doing is trying to identify what are all the keywords that people are searching for that my product serves, right? And then there's going to be certain keywords that your product serves better than others. And that's what you want to continue to double down on. So the end of the day is just like, you've got to create the 4 different categories of those keywords and then start with your shop, semi shop. There's nothing necessarily magical about a high ticket ads for high ticket products, other than like your ad costs are probably going to be significantly higher and your cash flow is probably going to be a little more challenging than somebody that has low ticket products. So, but in terms of PPC, strategies are the exact same.
Cool. And then this is a 2-parter as well from ECOMM Tech. Have you noticed that you're getting broad keywords in the search terms of the exact campaign? So recently I saw that we have had targeted the keyword not pillow in the exact campaign and received broad keywords like not pillows for girls in the search terms of the exact campaign. If you've seen anything like that.
So conjugations does happen, right? And so there is a whole strategy. It depends on what it depends on the way you're kind of going through this. So what Amazon will do is they will add in conjugations for you. So if you take your keyword list, right, and you have not pillows, let's say you put in not pillows for girls, right? As your, like, you find that as one of your search terms that you're wanting to target, right? With Amazon, what it's going to do is it will add in conjugations for you. So it could be somebody that searches not pillow for the girl, right? Amazon will add or remove an S. They will also remove or add the words for, the, a, and, so that's the important thing. So like what you have to do is you have to sort through your keyword list, and you have to, it's nice because you're going to like remove a lot of like duplicates, but like you've got to remove the fors, the thes, the plurals, right? Because Amazon will automatically add plurals. And I know with the exact match, this is a recent development in Amazon. I think within the last month, they said that in the exact campaigns, they are now going to show your product, and they're kind of like making the exact campaigns more like phrase campaigns where it's like, if it's similar, we're going to start showing it in exact campaigns. So I haven't seen the finer workings of this other than what you just showed there. It is disappointing that Amazon's doing that, because it gives you less control over your ad spend, right? And that's the whole thing about why we have so many single keyword exact match campaigns, so that we could dial in on specific keywords if we need to support their organic ranking, right? And it makes it more challenging. So this is just something that may be a new change in Amazon. I know that there was a recent change where Amazon said like, yeah, we may be going a little more broad with the exact match. I don't know if you've seen that as well, Marissa.
I've kind of seen that a little bit happen, and you have to be really proactive. I think about negating certain kind of keywords and stuff like that, like you were saying, negative keyword targeting and everything like that. Yeah, I mean, you want to ideally have as much control as possible, right? And that's not always. And Amazon makes it difficult, right? So
Yeah.
okay. Hey guys, happy Tuesday. What do you guys recommend for relaunching an older product with some healthy reviews?
I don't know if they're asking they need to get healthy reviews or the product already has healthy reviews and they just need to relaunch it. We'll kind of go with the former there. So let's assume you have a product that has healthy reviews that you need to relaunch.
Yeah, I think
The
that's what they're.
Yeah, I think the strategy is still very simple, in terms of what I said before. What we have done, and we recently relaunched another product with great success. We dropped the price significantly. And the advantage of that is you're going to get the slash through pricing, right? Because we've been selling it at this higher price. We're going to get the slash through pricing, which is going to help conversion rates. And obviously, as you decrease the price, it's also going to help in the conversion rates, which then is also going to help you in your PPC campaigns. Because again, I would focus first on your shop, semi-shop keywords, those that provide the most like ranking juice for you, right? And create those exact match keyword campaigns for those shop and semi-shop keywords and let them run on their own for 2 weeks. You should have a higher conversion rate, which means you can continue to push the pedal, right? And when you do that, yes, you are probably going to lose money, which we have been doing for the last, like, I think 2 months for a product. We've just been losing money week over week over week over week. But we know that, okay, it's all going to be okay, because we have a strategy of how we're going to get back to profitability. But right now we are investing in trying to give Amazon like 60 to 90 days of history of us just like crushing it with a good conversion rate, really established organic rankings. Because if you just one night you get ranked to the top 5 and then tomorrow you're like, oh, focus on profitability, and then you shut off your campaigns, it's like you'll immediately fall from that top 5 position, right? And so the longer you've kind of been ranked in those top spots, the harder it is to lose those spots, unless you do something very drastic. So that's kind of my approach to a new product launch. Lower the price. I mean, there's other crazier strategies if you want to get into, like, do you need to get a new UPC code? Are you trying to merge reviews? I don't think that was necessarily your question, but there are those strategies too. If you're just like, I need a fresh start, but I've already got the product. That's my 2 cents.
Or if you stock out or something kind of happens on the inventory side of it.
Yep.
Solid advice. Thank you. Great strategy.
And Marissa, I do have, so I know we've got about 15 minutes or so, but I was the winner of the hat contest at Kevin King's $1 Billion Seller Summit that he did in Puerto Rico last month. And I was wondering if your audience would be interested in, I've got the presentation and I'd be happy to walk everybody through that presentation. So I don't know if people want to chime in, if that's something that you're interested in hearing from me, go ahead and leave it in the comments. And if there's enough interest, maybe I could pull that out for you guys and share that.
Yeah, that sounds interesting. Sounds fun. And then, so this kind of summarizes what we were talking about a little bit. Sounds like you start with conquest of exact phrase match keywords before embarking on the maintenance stage. So then do you start with a higher budget and then decrease the budget as you go and integrate into the algorithm?
No, we're not necessarily decreasing our budget um, unless we're unprofitable, right? Like I will continue to spend on a keyword if it is profitable and supporting the ranking, right? And again, it also depends on it goes back to those days, those of you that were selling back in like 2016, 2017, where you could do those search, find, buy campaigns, or you could like give people the promo codes, right? 90% off, and people would go buy your products. We all knew like what the magic number was like whatever the top seller's doing. If he's doing 20, 100 units a day, you need to be doing 20, 100 units a day. The same principle applies. The only thing that has changed is Amazon saying, yeah, knock all that other stuff off of Amazon. Stop doing that. Do all of those same strategies, but do them on Amazon. So how does this relate to Amazon? Well, guess what? Go get your 100 sales a day from PPC. Then if you get your 100 sales, right, and you're matching the best seller, then you could turn off your ad campaign. So that would be my recommendation in terms of like adjusting your budgets, would just be like, are you hitting like the numbers that you need in order to stay ranked?
Yeah. And then how can I review specifically if a campaign is helping me grow organically? So this is from Bernardo. I guess, looking into the listing and figuring out, how can we determine that this is specifically connected?
Yeah, you should be able to, I mean, this is as simple as putting it into a keyword tracker. There's a lot of different tools out there. Helium 10 has a keyword
Yeah.
tracker, right? And you need to track like where's my organic ranking for this keyword, right? And you could turn on the boost or whatever, and it like pulls it every single hour. Okay. And then what you need to do is with your ads, if you're like, hey, I'm really struggling in the organic ranking, but our conversion rate is higher than the competition, so I should be ranking higher, then boost your budget, boost your bid, boost your top of search placement, right? And you should start to see more volume coming through from that keyword. And as you see more volume coming through from that keyword, if you have a higher conversion rate than the competition, then you should be able to see a correlation with your organic ranking should start to change. And it starts to change within sometimes as early as 24 hours. Sometimes it may take a couple weeks. I've heard as long as like 4 to 6 weeks for some people. But that's the important thing is like, yeah, you just need to track where your keyword is at and then track what you're spending on your ad and measure your conversion rate on the ad, right? Make sure that they're continuing to be a higher conversion rate. And if so, like you should see that convert the organic ranking continuing to increase.
Yeah. Strategy. And then what will the best strategy for parent-child variation, target color variation, different ad group of same campaigns? Or should you create a separate campaign for the color variation having the same keywords? So kind of a structuring question here.
Yeah, I honestly don't know the right answer to that question. So, but from my perspective, because we don't set up any variations like that for our
Mhm.
products. And so my guess would be that you would create ad groups within a single campaign out of
Agree.
ease, because otherwise that starts to get, single ASIN campaigns that could get real wild real quick.
Can get real messy, right? And then, you might be cannibalizing without realizing it. If you're, if all of these listings are connected, right? If they all share one landing page and you're just, switching through the colors, it's probably best to condense here a little bit. So I'd agree there with that. And from our own John Aspinall, who does ASIN reviews every Wednesday on the MAG YouTube. So how much does Josh push the limit on his index images with Amazon's Fugazi T and C for printables on Amazon to improve his CTR? So, you know, me and CTR, it's John's favorite kind of metric.
Yeah. So I'm not sure this question. We don't sell printables on Amazon. You can't sell printables on Amazon.
Oh,
Um, so how much do we push the envelope of the main image? At the end of the day, like if you just, I don't think there's anything necessarily magic about the main image other than like your click through rate is extremely important. It all comes back to the product, right? Do you have a good product that's unique, whether in its design or its style or the way it's going to serve the customer, right? If you're talking about like incorporating lifestyle images, like I feel like if there's any gray area in Amazon that's safe to play in, it's probably with your main images. Like I feel like that's a safe one. Like, what's your worst case scenario? Amazon, sus- like they suppress the
yes.
ASIN. They don't even suspend the ASIN. They suppress it until you fix it, which is just like, hey, we're not showing this, and it's like, oh, my bad. Let me fix it, right? And it's like
Yeah,
there's
like
no
it's not
account
that.
violations, nothing. So like,
Yeah,
test away.
definitely. Or, you know, even if you set up an A/B test, they let you know before they let that A/B test even go live if your image isn't compliant, right? So that might even be an even safer way
Yeah.
to kind of mess with your main image there. So we're seeing, let's see it. And then yes, congrats on winning. So I think maybe we should do the presentation. You ready?
Awesome. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. All right. I've got an ethical bribe too as I dive into this presentation. So I'm going to share my screen. All right. Can you see my screen?
Can add to stream. Yes.
Okay. All right. You see my ethical bribe on the screen then?
Yes.
All right. So here's my ethical bribe for me to show this kind of presentation that I did at the $1 Billion Seller Summit. So subscribe to the ECOMM Breakthrough podcast on your preferred podcast app. So get out your phones, right, and go search for ECOMM Breakthrough. It's ECOMM with 2 M's. And hopefully you've gained some value from this Q&A session today. But please leave me a review and then share the podcast with someone. Drop it in your mastermind group, share it with a friend, obviously somebody that's in the e-commerce space. I don't know that your mom would be overly interested in learning about e-commerce. Unless she is, then share it with your mom. So that would be my first step. So Marissa, if you can, as soon as people maybe complete these, if you wouldn't mind sending me a thumbs up, and then as soon as we get a couple thumbs up, we'll kind of dive into this presentation. But this is there were a lot of AI hacks that were shared at $1 Billion Seller Summit. Number one, $1 Billion Seller Summit, one of the best conferences. It's my favorite conference to attend each year. I've attended for multiple years at this point, and I will actually be speaking at the upcoming $1 Billion Seller Summit in Hawaii 2024. So Kevin invited me to speak. He's heard me. I won the hack contest last year, so I was kind of the back-to-back champion in terms of sharing the hack. So now Kevin wants to hear a full presentation from me, which will be exciting.
Yeah. No, we have 11 thumbs up and some hearts. We've got about a few more
All right.
viewers. Yeah, I think we should dive in a little
Okay,
bit.
here we go. Thank you all. All right, so here it is. This is the easy way to find management level contractors. Okay, so this new AI tool, it's Workable AI Recruiter. Okay, so for those of you that are trying to hire staff, what I would encourage you to do, most people think about or have already heard like, oh, go find yourself a cheap VA over in the Philippines for like $3 or $4. Here's what I would tell you. Don't go find a cheap VA. Go find a management level contractor. Go find somebody that has an MBA. go find somebody that has a master's degree. Go find somebody that has extensive work experience and that can run circles around many of my or many just US staff members. Okay. So that's the biggest mindset shift to begin with. So Workable is an HR recruiting platform. Okay. It's been around for a while, but they introduced a new AI tool that is literally game changing. Okay. Because as you can see here, it's instant sourcing. So let's kind of put it all together. How does this work? So when we were looking for a graphic design assistant, okay, this is just to help with our listing images, doing some A+ content, etc. Okay, what we did is we created our job post on Workable, okay, and we identified the only country that we wanted to hire from was the Philippines, okay. So as you can see, what it did is this AI recruiter that's highlighted here at the bottom left-hand section, it found over 3,000 profiles, okay, that are related to the exact job description that I uploaded. Here's the amazing thing. AI recruiter is scanning Indeed, it's scanning LinkedIn, it is scanning all of the previous applicants that have ever applied to anybody else's job, not just yours, anybody else's job on their platform in the past. And they are they are like handing them over to you. Okay. That's the amazing thing. And I don't know how long this is going to last. Hopefully, this is here to stay. But if not, this is the biggest hack that you need to take advantage of right now, because here's the thing. These are not VAs. Okay. If you go try to hire somebody on onlinejobs.ph or on Upwork, guess what you're going to get? A bunch of VAs and people that have just, they've constantly wanted to work with like multiple clients, and you're going to get diminished returns. What I'm finding here, as you can see here, this was actually for a candidate. We were looking for an accounting controller to hire internally. So here are the type of candidates that we got: a master's in business administration, somebody that had financial planning, that was a financial planning and analysis manager, FP&A manager, right? A former assistant manager at Ernst & Young, a Zero certified advisor, right? These are all people that are over in the Philippines. And these are the type of people that I'm going to be able to reach out to. And here's the best part. I don't have to manually reach out to these people one by one. You get to select all of those people from this AI recruiter, right? You can see this select all button. And then I create a bulk action. And then this is the exact email template that I send them. So take your screenshot. This is exactly what to send them. And it will customize the message for you. Hey, dear candidate, first name, this is the new job. Here's the link to apply. Would love to have you apply. Okay. So some of you may be thinking like, oh, I don't want thousands of applicants in my job listing, because if I had thousands of applicants, that's going to be extremely painful for me to have to interview and weed through all of these candidates. Well, here's the best part. I have a secret way to auto-magically filter 98% of these applicants. So in your job application, one of the questions we ask at the very end is to please complete this personality assessment. Okay. Now, this is not your DISC personality assessment. It's none of the like Colby assessment, none of the, like the standard ones that you've heard of. What this is we use CriteriaCorp.com. And yes, it does a small personality test, which is very quick. But the core piece of this is that you're going to get this aptitude test. It's Criteria Cognitive Aptitude Test and the skills test. Okay. I'm not an affiliate for CriteriaCorp. I've actually asked them if I could be, because literally I tell everybody that I know about it, because like out of all of the test assessment softwares that are out there, most of them charge you per applicant. This one is a flat yearly fee. And so it ends up becoming like pennies per test submission, right? So it's amazing. Okay, so here's what you're going to look for. This Criteria Cognitive Aptitude Test is the gold standard, okay? Long story short, this is basically like an IQ score, but as you can see here, through their data analysis, they have proven that the cognitive aptitude is one of the most accurate job predictors of job success for any position. And we have seen that in the people that we have hired as well. Okay. So what we are looking for is people have to score in the 60th percentile or more for them to even be considered, right? It doesn't mean we're going to hire them, but 60th percentile is like our cutoff. Okay. And you'll see here, guess what happens? We went from, look at this, 530 candidates down to 10 candidates, right? 2% candidate yield from all of this. So now I know I'm working with like the 10 best candidates, okay, that I can then spend my time looking at their resume, considering interviewing them, right? But here's the other secret tactic. Instead of spending time reviewing those resumes for 10 different people and setting up one-on-one interviews with these people, what we will do is we will set up group interviews via Zoom, okay? And we will do a maximum of 5 candidates per group. So if I got 10 candidates there, I'm going to get 2 groups of people, okay? Group of 5A, group of 5B, right? And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask these questions, and I'm going to ask the exact same questions to each candidate, and they're on the same interview. Like, they see the people that they are competing against for this job with them, right? We've actually gotten really positive feedback that people enjoy being able to see who they're competing against, because if they're not chosen, for them, they're like, oh, I kind of know why I wasn't chosen, because I noticed like there were people that like had much more experience than I did, right? But here's the best part about this this group interview. The very last question that we ask to each candidate, okay, is, I call it our peer picking probe. Okay, it puts people in an awkward situation, and here's the question you ask: who would you hire from this interview, and why? Oh, and by the way, you can't say yourself. So now they are forced to nominate who they believe would be the best candidate that they would hire from the interview, and it's not themselves. We're thus far batting 1,000% that consistently, like, even the people not making the hiring decision are identifying the best talent from there. And so we'll take maybe one to two at most from each of those group interviews, and then we'll do like a one-on-one interview from them. And that's how we select our candidates and hire amazing management level staff for pennies on the dollar. So again, my biggest takeaway is for anyone that's wanting to scale your brand, the only way that you're going to be able to grow is by delegating and by hiring things out. You can't manage PPC and do product development and do supply chain and do accounting and do product optimization. You can't do it all. And so you have to find experts that can take a load off your shoulder and allow you to continue to grow the vision of the business and find those new product opportunities. So, Marissa, what are your thoughts? Any comments or questions from the audience?
That's really interesting. So, I mean, people have varying kind of opinions on group interviews and, you know, the anxiety attached to that. At my Amazon guy, we use a culture index test, kind of similar idea to, you know, a personality kind of test where, you know, some people, if you're interviewing or you're, you know, trying to get a brand management job and you're an introvert and, you know, you're probably not going to be super happy in that job, right? Or if you're, you know, a very, you know, big introvert or extrovert person, right? You're probably not going to be the best person to be an advertising specialist with no, you know, outer contact with anybody else all day or for most of the day, right? So similar kind of idea there, and it's a good way to kind of, you know, limit the amount of applicants that you're really looking at, and you know, who's best for the job. And I think that makes, you know, a lot of sense. And I appreciate you sharing that with us. I have a few call outs, you know, at the end of the show. So first of all, thank you so much, Josh, for joining us today. Here is a link to ECOMMBreakthrough.com if you want to check that out. Definitely recommend, and for more information about all of that. And then we are also hiring at My Amazon Guy. So myamazonguy.com/jobs. All positions, always hiring, always looking to find great talent. Please join us tomorrow. John Aspinall will be doing ASIN reviews. You can submit those over here, myamazonguide.com/asin. So if you're having some trouble, scaling your brand and, building out, a product, and John will be giving some insights into, main imagery, CTR, any potential listing optimizations. And then, as always, we have the Friday podcast at 12 Eastern with Jason and John. So, they can answer any type of question, not just PPC related. Thank you again, Josh, for joining us, and I hope everybody has a great day.
Thanks again. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you. Bye-bye.